No, he is not her equal. He is far her superior. Harriet Smith is the natural daughter of nobody knows whom. She's not a sensible girl and has been taught nothing useful. She's no experience and little wit. She is pretty, good-tempered, maybe, but that is all. I felt that in all respects he could do no worse, but he was so in love with her, he is so in love with her, that he would not be reasoned with. I even thought of you. I thought even Emma will think that this is a good match.
I cannot believe you know so little of Emma as to say such a thing. A farmer? A good match for my intimate friend? It would be a degradation.
A degradation for illegitimacy and ignorance to be married to a respectable, intelligent farmer.
There can scarcely be any doubt that her father was a gentleman, and a gentleman of fortune. Nothing has been begrudged her. Why should the child pay for the offences of others? Harriet is a gentleman's daughter. She associates with gentlemen's daughters. She is, therefore, superior to your Robert Martin.
Emma, we live in the real world, where children do pay for the offence of their parents. And it does not appear to be in their plans to introduce Harriet into their society, whoever they may be.
But we live here, in Highbury, where we treat people with the respect and courtesy they deserve.
Harriet's friends, whoever they may be, thought Mrs. Goddard's boarding school and Mrs. Goddard's company good enough for Harriet. And Harriet also thought it good enough, until you encouraged her to think above her station. She was as happy as possible with the Martins in the summer. And Robert has no vanity. He would not have proposed if he thought that she did not favour him. I know that she must have encouraged him.
Well then, let us, as you say, live in the real world, where men, of course, always reject a girl with a pretty face in favour of one with a well-informed mind. What? Oh, no. I bow to your superior knowledge, your 16 years more experience. You must know best. Harriet, with her good looks and her easy temperament, will be right at the back of the queue with your sex when it comes to choosing a mate. Now, we have both made our argument. Let us not quarrel.
Really, it is better to be without wits than apply them as you do, Emma.
There! Don't you see how you add force to my argument? Men don't like girls who argue. Harriet is just the sort of girl every man wants. She bewitches his senses and satisfies him that he is always right. Were you ever to marry, she would be just the sort of woman for you.
Ha!
Mark my words, Harriet can pick and choose. Here she is, right at the beginning of her life. Why should she accept the first offer she receives? Excuse me. Thank you so much, Mr. Elton. Harriet will be so very grateful.
How can we wait a moment longer than necessary to see this painting framed and hung for all to see?
Goodbye, Mr. Elton. Safe journey.
That man is so full of himself, I'm surprised he can stay on that horse. I've always thought it a bad friendship for you, Emma, but now that I think of it, I think it is worse for Miss Smith. Men of sense do not want silly wives, and most men of family will be afraid of the disgrace that they get caught up in if and when the mystery of her parentage is revealed. You let her marry Robert Martin, she's respectable and happy forever. You encourage her to set her sights higher, she might end up at Mrs. Goddard's for the rest of her life.
You think so differently about this. I really think we should stop talking about it. And as for my letting her marry Robert Martin, it is impossible. Harriet has refused him. She must abide by her decision. I do not pretend to have that much influence. Just a little. But really, his appearance was so much against him and his manners so bad that if she ever were disposed to favour him, she certainly doesn't now.
What nonsense!
I really think it is time for tea, and yet it has not appeared. Do you think I should call Father in?
Well, I suppose it is no great loss. For Mr. Martin, that is. He will get over her soon, I hope. But I know that your love of matchmaking means that you have more to do with this than you so modestly deny.
That is the real reason you are annoyed. I gave my advice, and you gave yours. But it was mine that prevailed, and you do not want to admit it. I am so pleased you have come back, for we will always be friends.
I came back to say this, Emma. As you make no secret of your matchmaking, I assume that you would not have taken this drastic step unless you had another suitor in mind. And as a friend, I will just hint to you that if Elton is the chosen man, Elton will not do. He knows he is a very handsome young man and will never marry cheaply. I have heard him speak with great animation of a large family of young ladies who all have 20,000 apiece. Harriet and Robert are not your playthings, your dolls. To be told what to do and to marry under the table at your bidding. They're flesh and blood. And one day, you will bitterly regret your meddling.
Mr. Knightley! I didn't realize Mr. Knightley would be leaving so soon. I knew I shouldn't have taken that last turn.
Miss Fairfax, I'm so pleased to see you again.
You seem lost, sir.
I'm not lost.
Mr. Frank Churchill.
I've heard so much about you, it is almost as if we had already met.
It's just a small verse of a romantic nature.
I would like to know that Mr. Martin is not so very bitterly disappointed.
I've never seen a man more disappointed.
Mr. Dixon saved her life.
It was nothing.
Why would she move home to Miss Bates's tiny little cottage when she could go to Ireland to Mr. Dixon's, no doubt, boundlessly beautiful estate? I'm ashamed to arrive with you.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Emma.
It is all my fault. I blame myself.
Oh! I adore you. I think that I might die if you refuse me.
Continues next Sunday at 9 here on BBC One. And let the